So I'm pretty sure nobody saw this coming. Well, I should say one guy saw this coming because he's the guy that actually sent me this reel, and that would be once again Billy. So you guys can thank Billy for this review, but he sent me the 13 Fishing Concept Boss, which is 13 Fishing's top of the line bait caster. And let's not wait around anymore, let's take a look at this thing. So the box itself is very nice. This cardboard material is very, very thick, very sturdy. And here we go, 13 Fishing reel case. And let's take a look at this reel right here. Shiny black. Yep, take a look at those knobs. Check out that spool. So pretty much everything on this reel is black except for just some lettering here and there, which is white. So if you're a fan of, I guess, blacked out or murdered out reels, then this is for you. I'm glad they went with shiny black instead of matte black. Alright guys, I'll let you take another look at this thing before I do my customary inspection, and yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm done with my inspection, but before we start, I just want to make a quick correction. Now, I said that the lettering on this reel was white, but it's actually chrome. And hopefully you guys can make that out. But yeah, I thought it was white because I'm looking through my camera's LCD screen and it came across as white, but when I actually inspected it with my own eyes, I realized they are chrome. At least most of them are. So that's pretty cool. As you can see, chrome is dark unless light hits it at a certain way, and then it flashes right before your eyes. So yeah, I like that. Now before we get into the specs and all the good stuff about this reel, let's get into my history with 13 Fishing reels. Now I've owned two of them in the past. The first one was the 1-3 Origin C. That's the white $99 bait caster, and I actually liked that reel. It was a really nice reel. For the most part, it was very smooth, casted really good. The only drawback, at least in my opinion, is the kind of cheap feeling rough paint job that they used. And other than that, I mean, it was a great performing reel for the money, very comfortable. And a couple of years ago, I included that reel in a big 6-way $99 baitcaster shootout. And if it wasn't for the legendary Shimano CASITAS, that reel probably would have won that shootout. And I actually still have that reel somewhere. I can't find it, or I'd have it in front of you now. But yeah, very much a worthy contender in the $99 baitcaster class. Now the next 13 Fishing reel I had was the infamous original Concept Z, and that's that bright colored orange reel that was supposed to have a revolutionary technology of using these special polymer bushings instead of ball bearings for increased cast distance, as well as, I guess, low maintenance, noise-free casting, etc., etc. Now in my opinion, that reel turned out to be a dud, especially for the price they were asking. The polymer bushings were quiet at first and seemed to cast okay, but I didn't really see any kind of distance increases, and the quietness and smoothness of the casting really deteriorated over time, to the point where that reel got so loud when casting, and the vibrations coming through the reel were almost unbearable, and the cast distances were super short. So needless to say, you don't see that reel on the market for sale anymore. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the most striking thing about this reel. And no, it's not the all black paint scheme. It's going to be the price. And the price for the Concept Boss is $400. Now, a lot of people, you know, when you see a $400 reel, you think Shimano, Daiwa, or even Abu Garcia, but you're not used to seeing reels coming from, I guess, the second tier manufacturers like Quantum, LEWS, and 13 Fishing that cost $400. So to me, when I see a reel from, you know, a second tier manufacturer that costs this much, the first thing I think of is it worth it? What have they done to this reel to charge that kind of money? So we're gonna find out with this Concept Boss if you guys think it's worth $400 or not. Now the funny thing is, a lot of you guys probably don't remember, but a few years ago when 13 Fishing first came out with their line of reels, they actually had a $500 reel called the Concept KP. And I think this reel is heavily based on that Concept KP reel, which is no longer for sale. Now, holding the Concept Boss in hand, it feels pretty well built. It's definitely got the paint job of a $400 reel. And when I squeeze on it and press on things, I don't feel any kind of loose parts or hear any kind of noises. Now, it's not Shimano Micro Module Smooth. It's got a generic smoothness to it. Now let's go ahead and go over the basic specs of this reel, and to help us out with that, I'm gonna bring the box back out. Alright, so check out this long list of I guess features, or I should say marketing. And 13 Fishing is well known for using, I guess, pretty evocative words to slap onto, I guess, some of their just basic components to make it sound like it's something special. But let's go down this list real quick. Now it says new CZB comp technology, which we're going to get into here later. That says titanium bulldog drag system, 22 pounds max. And that word titanium, now does this mean that the drag stack has titanium washers in it? I'm going to say probably not, or the reel would probably cost a lot more. Now it says 11 total bearings, 10 plus 1, 2 CZB comp, 2 CZB, 6 Black Seal corrosion resistant bearings. So basically they should have changed this line here to 6 bearings plus 1 and 4 bushings. Dead stop anti-reverse bearing, 6-way Concept centrifugal brake system, which I can actually show you guys. The brake system on these reels is something I've criticized 13 Fishing for, but right there. And this tells you which factory, or I should say which Korean factory, makes this reel. Alright, so back to the list, 6.3 ounces, and I'll have to say, it is light, but since this reel is so compact and it feels so sturdy, it feels heavier than that, but we're going to put it on the scale here in a second. Lightweight KP Tech gear shaft, so I'm assuming the main shaft has been lightened some way, probably ported or whatnot. Arrowhead line guide. So here's the line guide, and it is, I guess, arrowhead shaped. So it's not a standard tiny hole like most reels have. It's kind of taller and a little bit wider, but it does not appear to be tapered like a lot of Shimano line guides are, which is kind of disappointing. That would really make it seem like an arrowhead to me. Beetle Wing rapid access side plate, and look, it actually has a patent number. So basically the Beetle Wing is this right here. So once you, I guess, push this latch, this thing pops out. It's spring loaded and it does not come off, which is a plus because you do have to open up the side plate to adjust these brakes. No external adjustment. So this means the side plate will not fall off into the water. But other reels have had that for a long time. Japanese Hamai-cut gearing, trick shop compatible, so it looks like you can buy different colored parts in their trick shop. Line capacity 12 pounds, it holds 75 yards, so a very shallow spool, which you can actually see. Compared to other 13 Fishing spools, this is very, very shallow, bordering on bait finesse for them. KP spool, so apparently that's the same spool that came in the Concept KP. KP Star Drag. Apparently it's the same Star Drag that came in the Concept KP. As you can see, it's very ported with those triangular shapes. It does click. It is made of aluminum, I think, and the star arms are very thin. As you can see, it's ported on the arms as well. Garage Series cast control cap. Alright, so let's take a look at this cast control cap. It says Boss Limited Edition. Now, does that mean that this reel is limited edition? Because in my opinion, limited edition means they're only going to make a certain amount and then that's it. But the cast control cap does click, has very muted micro clicks. Definitely does not feel positive like, let's say, a high-end Daiwa that used to have the cast control cap, or a high-end Shimano with the cast control cap that clicks. And unfortunately, it is made of plastic or graphite, but it is shaped to where it is easy to turn, even if it's wet. Boss carbon handle arm, Boss carbon handle knobs, which we've shown you already. They are very, very trick looking, very well made carbon fiber components. Okay, so now it's time to bust the scale out, because I really want to get a weight on this spool, which is something I've been wondering about for a long time. How much do the spools weigh on the Concept KP reels, which apparently use the same spool? But before we do that, I do want to say that there are actually two models of the Concept Boss. The first model is the 8.1:1 gear ratio, which is the one that Billy sent me. Hopefully that'll come into focus. But the 8.1:1 high-speed gear ratio comes with the shallow spool, the 90mm carbon fiber handle, and the carbon fiber knobs. Now they have a second model that's a 6.6:1 gear ratio, and that comes with a much deeper spool. Comes with, I believe, a 100mm carbon fiber handle and some Gomex's type power knobs. So I guess that's for bigger lures, heavier lines, and more power fishing techniques. Alright, so let's pop the scale out. So I got the scale out and ready to go, and let's get a weight on the reel so we can get to that spool. Alright, so 13 fishing claim, 6.3 ounces. So on my scale it says 6.4. Let's try that again, and we'll put it on a little bit differently this time. Nope, still 6.4, which is still very good. You're not going to really notice a tenth of an ounce. Okay, so let's pop the spool out and let's take a look at the CZB comp bushings. Alright, here's the brake system. Let you guys take a good look at that. Basically it looks like it's got 7 total settings from 0 to 6, and you basically make an adjustment by turning this outside dial so that white dot will move to each number. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, etc, etc. Alright, so let's take a look at this spool. It is very ported and relatively shallow for a 13 fishing reel. And here are the CZB comp bushings. Now, when these comp bushings came out, I noticed something different about them versus the regular CZB bushings, that they seem to be beveled on the inner portion where it contacts the spool to give it less, I guess, surface area to contact, causing less friction. But it does not look like these bushings have that feature, and I'm not sure why. And also, I believe they used to sell the CZB comp bushings as a set for your existing reels if you wanted to change them out, and they don't seem to sell them anymore, and you get another CZB comp bushing on the other side of the spool. And yeah, it doesn't look like the inner portion is beveled, so maybe these bushings are just thinner overall than the original CZB bushings. I don't know, so that's kind of strange. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a weight on this spool. As you can see, it's sporting a long spool shaft that is made of aluminum, it appears. Now, I normally would take this bushing off, but story time, when I had my Concept Z, when I originally removed the bushing, I noticed there was some kind of a clear, oily or greasy substance on the bushing, and when I handled the bushing I kind of wore all that stuff off, and that might have led to the huge degradation in performance and smoothness. So I'm not going to touch that since this is not my reel. I'm going to leave the bushing on, but I believe they weigh about 1 gram, and hopefully you guys can see that it is very shiny, and it does appear to have some kind of a greasy substance on it, probably for lubrication. Anyway, let's swap the scale over to grams, and okay, finally 12.2 grams. Okay, so without this bushing, I'm assuming the bushing weighs about 1 gram. You're probably looking at an 11.2 or possibly less weight spool, so that is very, very lightweight. That's lighter than the Shimano Metanium spool, and I think it's lighter than the new ZILLION 1000 spool. So it's very, very promising, and it looks to be a smaller spool as well. Probably, could that be a 32 millimeter? I'm gonna check, hold on a second. Okay, so after playing around and trying to fit this spool into various other reel frames, I figured out that it is probably right around 32 millimeters or a little bit more. And I found that out by trying to fit this into a Shimano ALDEBARAN 30 frame. It wouldn't fit. And then I tried to fit it into the SLX MGL frame, and it wouldn't fit. But I tried to fit it into the 2020 Daiwa TATULA frame, and it fit. So this is just probably a hair over 32 millimeters. So a very finesse-oriented spool. So now that we went over the features and the specifications on this reel, got all the weights and measurements on it, do I think this reel is a $400 reel? Now, before I answer that, in my opinion, when judging a reel this expensive, you have to kind of divide it up into 2 different sections. Now, the first section is going to be the build quality, the features and specs, and the smoothness and refinement. And the second part is, of course, is going to be the performance. Now, when it comes to the first part, the build quality, the Concept Boss is built very well, as I said before. The paint job is excellent, very smooth, nice to touch. There are no creaks or weird noises when you press or move the components on this reel. It's very quiet, and as you can see, it comes with this super sick carbon fiber handle and knobs, which are generally very expensive aftermarket options if you want one, and that comes standard on this reel. And of course, the Concept Boss has this super ported shallow spool that is very lightweight. So the casting range on this reel should be pretty huge, probably touching on upper end bait finesse with no problem. Now, where it falls short is going to be in a couple of key areas. Now, the first area is the smoothness and refinement. Now, it is generically smooth, but it doesn't make you think, damn, this is smooth. Now, in fact, I dare say that my Origin C, which was only a $99 reel, and my Concept Z, which was a $199 reel, felt smoother than the Concept Boss. Now, a lot of that could be down to the knob material, as the Origin C has this very cushy rubber material for its knobs, and the Concept Z had like EVA foam, while these carbon fiber knobs, while they are very smooth, they are very hard. So yeah, that could be it, but the retrieve just doesn't feel very refined. And to illustrate that point more, we have probably the Concept Boss's biggest competitor, and what I believe is the benchmark in the $400 reel category, and that's Shimano's Metanium. And when you turn this handle, it is super silky, buttery smooth, and it is definitely smoother than my SLX reels and smoother than my CURADOs, which cost much less. And another thing is that for a reel that costs $400, this is a very cheap graphite spool tension knob. It should be made of aluminum. I mean, even the $50 Abu Garcia Black Max has an aluminum spool tension knob. And then, of course, I'm going to beat on this dead horse some more. The Concept Boss lacks externally adjustable brakes. And in 2021, that is completely unacceptable. Now, 10 years ago, that might have been somewhat acceptable, but these days we have $99 bait casters like the Quantum Accurist that has externally adjustable centrifugal brakes. And then we also have the $120 KASTKING Speed Demon that has externally adjustable centrifugal brakes. And I'm pretty sure all 3 of these reels are made in the same factory or by the same OEM manufacturer. So the next thing we are going to do is we're going to see if this has the casting performance of a $400 reel. Now, I don't have a lot of time with this reel, so it's going to go straight into battle up against several other reels, as I'm going to have a 2021 Cast Distance Olympics where this Concept Boss is going to go up against the mighty Metanium, as well as several other reels, and we're going to see if any of them can dethrone the Metanium, throwing the 1/4 ounce casting plug. So as soon as the weather clears up, the snow melts, and the temperature gets above 40 degrees on the first day available, I am going to take all these reels out and we're going to see what's what. So be on the lookout for that. All right guys, thanks a lot.